From Perth, Australia, and broadcasting around the world, you're listening to The O Show with your host, Oren McCory. The O Show is a no-nonsense podcast bringing you the best advice on training, mindset, and nutrition to supercharge your efforts in the gym, the kitchen, and most importantly, in your head. Don't forget to share this episode on your social media. Now, let's get to it.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, guys, wherever you are in the world. Welcome to the O Show. I am your host, Oren McCory. And if you're watching on YouTube, the reason why I've got these weird glasses on is because I am trying out some blue blockers. It is currently 7:12 in the evening, and I'm just trying it out to reduce the blue light glare from the screen in front of me and hopefully help me sleep better. So if you're not watching, maybe you want to go to YouTube now and check it out because I look like an absolute nerd. But anyway, I have an awesome guest on today, guys. It's somebody who I've been following for probably about 3 years, and I've seen her grow as a person, as a coach, and also go through a lot of, I won't say ups and downs, but like she's had to deal with embracing her body at different stages of her journey in her bodybuilding and physique development. And I thought it's very relevant because there's a lot of people who are transition up different categories or maybe struggle with the whole shift in mindset after doing a cut or a comp. And I thought I'd get her on to talk about her experience. So welcome to the O Show, Chloe Pickford, all the way from England.
Oh, thank you for having me.
I'm very excited about this one, mate. We've been talking for about 10 minutes beforehand, and I think it's going to go well because you've got a lot to talk about. You're very chatty and you've got a good personality, so it's going to go down very well. So let me first ask you, how's your week been? It's a pretty hectic week in England, right, with the whole lockdown situation, round 2.0. It's a bit extreme.
Yeah, it's been a whirlwind so far. We're on day 2 over the UK, and I have to say I'm not coping very well without a gym.
Yeah.
I've literally been the last couple of days just been because before we got, before the Thursday came yesterday, I was hoping that they might keep the gyms open. I was being very, very optimistic about it all. But yeah, despite all the sort of campaigns, everything running in the UK, there's, the gyms are closed. So I've been spending like the last couple of days just getting out home workouts to my clients, organizing what we're going to be doing for the next month. I've set some really cool things up for them. So I've been putting them before myself, but I'd kind of realized that I missed the gym already and it's day 2, but hey, so does everyone else.
You've only got 3 weeks and 5 days to go as a minimum, right? And then hopefully you'll get them back.
It's not long, I'm not counting, it's fine.
Don't be looking at my stories if you are, because like there's going to be some big leg workouts coming, some killer equipment coming in. So
well, there's people in Dubai, so I've known quite a lot of people
true.
that have gone to Dubai, so I think I might have to either unfollow all of them or mute them all so I don't see their stories.
That's it. I have noticed that as well, right? A lot of people have flew out in the past few days to Dubai for like the 4 weeks. So would you ever consider doing something like that, or just so you could train?
I just messaged someone actually, because they said to me that it might be longer than a month, and I thought, well, honest to God, if it's longer than a month, I'm off. I'm out of this country.
Yeah,
I will be going somewhere. I can't come into Australia, unfortunately. I'm not allowed to.
Yeah, I don't think anyone can get in or out of this country. It's like permission only. But that's how it should be, right? Like with something like this. But we'll not get into the politics of everything. But as long as you're coping okay mentally and business is still good, that's pretty good. Because it's intense going through it once, never mind having to do a second one, right? And Melbourne just had to do the same over here. They were locked down for 3 months, then they got a big spike again, and they got like another 6 to 12 weeks or whatever it was, and they're just reopening now. So yeah, that's pretty intense, but we're lucky here where we are in Perth, where we're all safe inside in the most isolated city in the world.
Yeah, I know, you're lucky. I think it's frustrating because I've spoken to those people about this, you get it taken away from you for 6 months, I think, in the UK last time, the first lockdown. Then you just get into it, and it took about a month to get back into the training. And then literally I've never been so motivated, never been so happy with my physique. Training is going amazing, and then boom, it gets taken away from me again. And I think everyone's really struggling with that, because when you don't go into the gym for so long and then you go back into a gym, you realize how lucky you are and how much you're really grateful for the gym, and then it gets taken away from you again. You're just like, okay, well now, like, how do I cope with this again? But hopefully it's only a month, and which I can do. But as I said, if it goes past a month, I'm going to have to consider a lot of things.
Yeah, definitely. Dubai's on the cards there, maybe for a hot Christmas, huh?
Yeah, literally, like, to all my fellow online coaches, should we go out there? Literally, like, I will be like, right, let's hire, or rent an Airbnb of like 12 bedrooms. Let's all go out there. It'll be great for content as well.
Just take over Dubai, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that would be good. So, mate, what's going on then now with you're recently dieting, just doing a little like sort of tidy up phase. Is that going to continue now, especially given the lockdown, or is things going to change? You're going to push calories up a bit, or what's the thoughts on what you're going to do from here?
I think I just literally sent pictures to Cal in a video because I was just freaking out because the scales were up like just over a kilo this morning. But I think that's like down to stress. I haven't moved much over the last couple of days just because I've been stuck at my laptop sorting all my clients out, and I've also not done my cardio this week either. So I just think for my head, like I was like, oh my God, because I was coming in like quite lean, well, not lean. I'm still not lean, far from lean. Lean is like, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And the scale was going down, and I was like at my lowest a couple of days ago, and then jumped on today, and I was like, okay. But I think after today, when everything's settled, when all my clients are set, I think I'll be able to get back in control of everything. And I do want to take off a kilo or so more. So I think we're going to continue, but I'll wait for the boss to message me back and see what he says. But
nice. And that kind of leads into the next sort of question. So you got the same coach as me with Callum Restrict from the Muscle Mentors, who's an incredible coach, does a great job, but you haven't actually done a show since you started with him, right? So
yeah.
You were the athletic figure PCA British champion in 2018. I got that right, okay? Yeah?
That's correct. Yes,
okay,
well
good.
done.
So that was your last show. So how long have you been competing before that?
I did 2 years before that as well. So I did 3 years consecutively, which I think the reason I just felt so gone in 2018 and had some health issues creeping in was because I'd just done 3 years, back to back, with minimal off seasons as well, because you step off the stage, the finals in October, and I'll be prepping again in the March. So really my body, and especially from a female point of view with hormones and cycle, your period, it's not long enough to make massive improvements and to let your body just chill. So I think 3 years back to back, although I ended it on a high, it took its toll, and I'm so glad I've not been on stage since. And I don't want to even go on stage next year. Honestly, like I'm just not. I want to go on stage again. I'm so raring to, but I'm just not ready. And I think that's where a lot of people go wrong. They chase the stage the whole time. They want to do it for the gram. They want to do it for the likes. Want to do it for the following because they want to look lean. Honest to God, like if you're looking, to compete for those reasons, you're doing it for the complete wrong reasons. It's your health as well. So
obviously health, like 3 preps back to back pretty much with short off seasons for anyone's going to be pretty soul destroying and pretty hard on the body. So you joined Callum. The goal was probably to get health in a good spot before we're talking about competing, but you probably thought back in 2018 or 2019, whenever you joined Callum, you probably thought you would have competed by now, right? But it hasn't happened as of yet. So how do you deal with that, going from like British champion, like one of the best physiques, probably, I'm not blowing like smoke up your ass here, but one of the best female physiques of the people who I follow, to be honest, guys. And you need to go check out Chloe's comp pictures because it was very impressive, the package you brought to that 2018. But obviously you've made so much improvement since then. So how do you go from that mindset of cut, so lean and making so much progress to be able to get the next phase? Because what I'm finding with clients, like we recently done a cut last month and I had many female clients do it with me. And to get them in the mindset of, right, your calories now need to go up, and the goal isn't to stay, it's to stay lean-ish. Like, we're not going to make them fat again, but the goal is now add muscle in the right places, improve strength, go for those PBs. Some people just struggle with that. So how did you find that whole transition from such an accolade of British champ to extended improvement season?
Well, I've never, like, when I was doing shows back to back, years back to back, in the off season that I had, those 5 or so months, I never really, I didn't deal with the weight gain well at all. I was always so unhappy with how I looked. And it wasn't until I'd taken time away from stage that I have just completely detached myself from being stage lean. Like, I could not think of anything worse than being stage lean again. Yeah. It's going to happen. It's going to happen in due course, of course. But that's not my identity. Like, I feel like it's so much healthier and I look so much powerful, like stronger with having more body fat on me. And, you know, and you're not going to, once you realize you're not going to make any sort of gains or progress if you're lean, then you sort of really learn to step away from that sort of mentality. But I do think time away from stage is like one of the most important things. It just takes time to get used to it. You know, like a couple of years post show now. And it'll be 3 years when I step on stage in 2022. It'd been 3 years I was away from stage.
Yeah.
So I think it's just taking time, but it is hard. But you need to make sure that you're focusing on like performance-based goals as opposed to aesthetics all the time, because you constantly like are checking in, weighing yourself. Like, it is quite unhealthy, and that, you know, the sport itself isn't unhealthy. You know, it's not a healthy sport. I think, you know, everyone will agree with that. It's very, very extreme, but you just need to learn to switch off, and that comes with time, I think. And also, like, the more shows you do, and maybe age too. Like, you know, I don't know.
What age are you now, Chloe?
I hate saying this. Yes.
I would say about 25.
Oh, I'm 29.
Oh, yeah. Okay, there we go.
Yeah, I'm old bird. I'm 30 next year.
That's okay. I'm a few years ahead of you. I'm 32 now, coming
Are
33.
You look so young.
I've got a baby face, mate. That's what it is.
Yeah, you have.
So yeah, so like that means you were British champ at what, like 27-ish?
Yeah.
How long do you see yourself bodybuilding for?
So with my category that I've now chosen, for those of you who don't know what I did before, obviously I did athletic figure, and then my aim when I joined Cal was to go into figure still, and then potentially do 2 bros figure. But if you've seen the standard in that class and what it takes, for many reasons, that's just not the look I want to go for. And the condition you have to bring is, well, it's kind of like the condition I brought for 2018, but even more. You know, I would have needed more muscle. You know, I need, like, upper body needs to be bigger. I need to come in so lean, and that is very, very extreme. And so if I was to compete in figure, because I want kids and stuff, it probably literally would just be 2022 and then done out. But because I've chosen wellness, it's a class that I can probably maintain for longer, because we're not going to be going to those extremes of getting really, really lean. And this is something I've spoken to Callum about. It's, you know, there's more longevity in that category for myself. Whereas for me in figure, I mean, it was just a bit like, we don't need to go into those details, but it just seemed to me a bit more, you know, I wasn't quite sure.
Just too much.
Yeah. And also going, like, the reasons why I changed categories is because my lower body is my strongest, you know, point. Yeah. And that's always come up on stage. You know, your lower body is so developed from all the judges, amazing lower body development. And then through this off season, the last 2 years, people said to me, "Have you not, thought about wellness?" And I was like, really? Don't really know. I haven't got fake boobs. I can't do it. I had this thing about fake boobs in my head. Okay. And Callum did as well. He was like, "You can't do it. You haven't got fake boobs, Chloe." And I was like, "Callum, I don't need them. I swear I don't need them." And I found someone who won a 2 bro show and she didn't have fake boobs. And I also found a pro who didn't have fake boobs. And I sent it to him and I was like, there we go.
That's the look. That's the look you're going for then.
we decided that wellness was going to be the one for me, because first of all, I really love the look of the girls, because they still come in lean. They're still muscular. Like, I mean, you might have seen some of the pros. They are absolutely incredible. Like, they're amazing physiques. And it's a physique that I actually like myself.
That's good.
And, you know, that's important, that I stay in a position that I'm, you know, we're all going to get uncomfortable in an off season, of course, like we're going to have more body fat and stuff. But for me, like, making my upper body even more jacked and trying to match it to my lower portion, which is quite hard when you're quite short as well. I've got really small clavicles, like I'm really tiny.
Yeah.
And it just wasn't the look I really wanted to go for. And I'm not afraid to say that, you know, I see some figure girls and they look amazing and I think, wow, you're phenomenal. But for me personally, I think I should go the category that suits my body type, and that is wellness. You know, you get judged on your lower portion. How big can your legs be? How big can your glutes be?
Yeah.
Game.
You got that.
Like,
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, for me, that's because constantly, even before pre-COVID, Callum was like, right, we need to pull back on your legs. We need to take lower days out. We need to stop hitting your quad so much. We need to stop doing this. We need to put more emphasis on your upper portion. I was like, oh, I don't find that fun. Like, I love training upper body, but we're taking, you know, my legs wanted to grow and that's how I'm built. And we were like, no legs, stop growing, stop growing. Wow. And it just feels a bit like disheartening when you get to that stage, you know, because I wasn't enjoying it as much, you know, pulling back on legs. Well, who wants to do that anyway?
Yeah. So when you're training, you actually really, really love your leg days then, yeah?
Yeah. And I've got like pre all this second lockdown, I had like legs 3 times a week.
Yeah.
Because I can recover quite well from it. And obviously it's just literally maintaining my upper, bit more on my delts. And then I'll be good to go. But my legs need to be thicker, they need to be bigger. So
okay. So even though legs are still the strong point for wellness, that's what you and Callum have come up with, that you need probably a little bit more delts, but like legs are getting the priority really then.
Well, I'll put it this way, I don't want to go on a 2 brace stage and look okay. I want to go on there and do some damage, you know. That's always been my goal, is to really stand out and be like, and I want to walk out and be like, you know, in a good chance of placing top 3. That might sound a little bit ambitious, but that's just, you know, from going from where I was in 2018, when and I'm not saying like PCA isn't I mean, it's a big federation, but it's not IFBB, but I just want to do as well as that again, or sort of match it at least. And like I said, I'm just not ready to go on stage next year. I'm too focused on business and too focused on being in off-season shape, like feeling great like this, you know, keeping my health markers up. So yeah, I'm just so excited. I can't even tell you.
Yeah, that'll be good, man. I'll be excited to see that. But there's obviously a lot of growth, but it's now the 6th of November. So like when will the show likely be? What sort of timeline in 2022?
So we'll do a UK show, probably beginning-ish of the year, like depending what the calendar's saying next year. In 2022, it could all change. But like a show at the beginning of sort of the year, and then we're going to go into some abroad shows as well, in Europe. So yeah, but we'll probably start a prep like maybe the December before, or the year of, in the January.
Yeah, so you've definitely got like a full year to get that size on, to improve and keep improving. So like that's something that stands out as really important. It's something obviously I try to drill in with clients, whether it's just where they've dieted for a shoot, but it's like, you know what it's like? It's people that get super lean. It's the leanest they've ever been, regardless of what body fat level that is, right? I don't tell people, right, you can't do a photo shoot because you're not this amount of body fat. They're feeling great. They're the leanest they've ever been. And it's that transition out is always so fucking hard mentally for them, because they feel so good and they've worked so hard for this body, that sometimes it's like just embracing those health goals and just, like you say, learning to like embrace the curves and like, yeah, you put a little bit of fat on here and there, but you're also going to grow. You're going to feel powerful. You're going to feel strong. Your performance is going to be up in the gym. And that I think is massive for somebody, like regardless of whether they compete or not, to just like embrace their body regardless of, you know, whether it's lean or whether it's, you know, in an off season, because like all physiques have beauty to them, and It's what you put on it. If you just want to stay lean year round, you're not going to make the progress that you need to make in terms of adding muscle to your legs, your glutes, your delts. Then same way, like, you know, if you're always on a bulk, like you're never going to feel like, you know, you're lean and you just feel chunky all the time. So you need to find a nice balance with that. And that's where obviously like mini cuts will come in. So obviously with this phase you're doing now, you were in a big, like a building phase, whatever you want to call it, where you were just pushing, like not like adding body fat as well as muscle. And then you're like, nah, I'm going to do a little cut. I'm going to tidy things up. And obviously you're feeling quite good now. So since 2018, 2019, whenever you joined Callum, how many times have you done something like a mini cut, just to give the girls out there an idea of?
This is the first time. However, when I stepped off the stage in 2018, by the Christmas, January, realized there was some problems going on. Like my appetite was just gone. Like I had zero appetite, which is weird because every time you normally step off stage, your hunger hormones are just everywhere and you can't stop eating. And for me, like even when I stepped off stage, I was like, I don't really fancy any food, which is very unlike me. So I spent a whole year in 2019 with fuck all appetite. Sorry to swear.
That's okay.
Are you allowed to swear, wasn't you?
You're with an Irishman, you can swear as much as you want.
Of course. They love a drink, they love to swear, so there we go. So Cal and I were trying to get this appetite sorted, and again, that was why we decided to keep pushing, competing back, because I wasn't able to eat. So I guess that whole year was, well, I wouldn't say I was lean, but food wasn't high. It was very up and down. Like I was eating lots some days I'd, you know, go a week with eating like 700 calories. It was just all really up and down. So I guess that was like, well, a year recomp. It wasn't intentional, but let me push my calories up to 2,800, and that's been the case for like a good 8 months. Every day, like no rest day calories, just straight 2,800. That's been like tough. And then because my appetite then started getting really, really bad again, and I wasn't enjoying the food, and I don't know how you guys push through. Like I can't sit and just force feed. Like it's just for me, I have to like hold my nose and like, it's just when I get to that point, I'm just like, this is not fun. Like it's making food seem like, I don't know, like I like food, but when you get to that point, it's tough, isn't it?
Yeah.
So then we've just done a mini cut. We're in a mini cut now just to bring my appetite back up. We went into a very harsh deficit, so dropped 1,000 a day, which for a lot of people listening to this, if you struggle to adhere to your diet, you probably couldn't do that. You probably find yourself like eating too much each day or going off plan, so to speak. But I've been able to deal with that quite well. So it's been quite nice actually, doing cardio and low calories and stuff. Oh my god, my Aura ring is here, by the way. The doorbell's going. Can we just pause this a second?
Let's pause it. Guys, we are back after a short delay. Chloe's had her Aura ring delivered, and I can remember the excitement when I got mine delivered. I was waiting in for it all day, so I had to pause it and let her go meet the delivery guy. So we're back in. So obviously you were talking about calories, mate. Like you've dropped like a considerable bit, and mentally you're coping quite well with it, because I mean it happens, right? Where like regardless of what it is, you hear bodybuilders, you hear normal like gen pop people, like you get to a certain stage where food's so high that they're like, I can't stomach this, and then it's nearly like the running joke, right? Where you're like off season, you can't wait to diet, and when you're dieting, you can't wait to eat more and grow like in the off season. So how long do you think you'll be continuing the mini cut for then?
I think a couple more weeks, because obviously it's wasted time if we stay in it for too long. The main thing was just to get a few kilos off and then get my appetite firing again, but I can't say my appetite's very good at the moment, just with the whole, soon as the lockdown thing came in, because I'm a very much, Callum says this to me all the time, he's like, so we have stress eaters, then we have stress starvers. You're a stress starver, Chloe.
Right.
Like as soon as my anxiety or stress comes in, boom, appetite's gone. Don't want to know about food, which I think is actually better than stress eating, to be honest. I'd rather be a stress starver than a stress eater.
Yeah, it's hard to pick which one's better, really, right?
Like, I get off season, I guess it's probably okay to be a stress eater, but Yeah, so I think a couple more weeks. I'm checking with him properly on Monday, and then we'll see what he says.
Yeah.
But I guess, you know, through this period, I'm not going to make any huge gains anyway because of the equipment. Like I don't have a gym available to me, you know. So
Yeah.
as long as I can get my steps and my cardio in, and I think we'll probably continue for a few more weeks.
So let me throw a scenario where if Boris locks you down for longer than 4 weeks, does the mini cut continue then, since it's still going to be, no, you're still going to come out of it?
That would literally be like 8 weeks,
Yeah.
you know, in a dieting phase, and it's just not needed for me. It was
Yeah,
literally
especially if your goal is to grow. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. In and out 1,000 deficit a day. It's definitely enough. And we've literally only calories haven't changed since we started the dieting phase. Cardio 3 times 25 minutes. And literally my body weight was I was looking so much leaner. And that goes to show the importance of high calories in the off season, because then you don't need to go ridiculously low. Whereas if you don't start at, you know, at high calories in the off season, you're going to have to go really low. And that was the case for me before, I think. I never pushed my food up to, high enough. But saying that, 2,800 calories, I've never been in such good body composition before. So it just goes to show that, you know, if you train properly and you're consistent with your food, because in my off seasons before, I would like eat extra things. So I would like pick at things and add things in. Peanut butter was the worst. 20 grams, extra teaspoon or tablespoon. You know, and it all adds up. And that's what was happening to me in my previous off seasons. I was eating, you know, I was so obsessed with the meal plan, but I found myself adding stuff into the meal plan because I was just like restricting myself so much. It was literally like it wasn't binging, but it was overeating. Whereas because I've had such high calories, I've been so consistent with food, don't feel restricted at all, and my body composition is the best it's ever been.
Yeah, wow, that's good.
Yeah, so high calories are the one.
So since it sounds like you're really enjoying the whole mini cut experience now, especially because you were like stuffed at that stage when you started it. Do you see any potential negatives coming out of that, where, like I described how the females are, where they get kind of attached to being lean, or the process of cardio? You think you're going to struggle a little bit with going back up?
Well, like this morning when I jumped on the scales,
Yeah,
I was like, oh no, like I was freaking out, and I was like, no, snap out of it, like stop, you're not in prep. And I have found myself scrutinizing my body a little bit more, but I am a lot better at just sort of just going, right, this is why we're doing this, you know, in and out kind of thing, like stop stressing. But I think, like potentially when I go back into my calorie surplus, I might be like, oh no, I quite like the dieting phase, because I actually enjoy prep.
yeah,
As hard as it is, I really love the cardio. I love how regimented it is, and I love the extremities of it all in the challenge.
yeah.
As fucked up as that sounds.
Yeah, I think that's what draws it to us, right? Like we are all kind of like a little bit fucked up in the head, I guess we can say. Like that's why we do this, right? Like we do want to push ourselves to be better, and like we do get drawn into the right, we're getting better every week or every day, and you can see the progress in the gym, you can see the progress with your cardio, your fitness and everything else. So it is very addictive, the whole prep process. The same way the off season is addictive, because you can see the PBs and the logbook going up, you can see measurements going up, but maybe your pictures still look, you know, pretty lean, so you're like, oh, that's an extra centimeter, an extra inch on my legs or my arms, and you're like, oh, that's pretty fucking cool as well. But I see what you like. So people who maybe struggle with this, and maybe they look up to somebody like you who's very, in my opinion, very body confident, you've got a really good like self-image and a really good relationship with yourself, I would say. People might think, oh, like, why can't I just be like Chloe who just gets shit done? Like, but like it goes to show that you think you're going to struggle with it too, right? So like these people who do struggle, they're not alone with it.
No, I used to like have such bad body issues before.
Yeah.
I actually had them really bad before competing, and I know I feel like a hypocrite saying this, because I'm like, if you have bad body issues before competing, I wouldn't say competing is good for you. But I guess for me, well, it has helped me actually, because you're forced to go into a bulking phase. you're forced to have higher food in a way. And I think people either go one of two ways. They'll go, oh no, this isn't for me, and they bail out and they're like, this is too much. But for me, I've learned to really love my shape and my body through both extremes. And to be fair, I prefer my body in an off season than I prefer it in a prep. But saying that, I probably will love how I look in 2022. And we're still going to be really lean, but we're not going to be like feathered glutes lean, or feathered glutes lean. That's a different sort of level. But I think,
So how much you're obviously very confident with this, right? And I see the type of post that sometimes you put up where you're like, listen, I'm really feeling myself today. I don't care, like, if I got a bit of extra body fat on, or like,
I know exactly which one you're talking about.
it's very positive a lot of the time, right? But like, a lot of this is obviously like, you're happy in your own mind, you're happy in your head with where you're at. Like, you're just embracing your curves, you're embracing the strength that comes with it. So how much of that is where you need to block out all the negative and all the shit that, people's opinions? Like, do you ever get negative comments on your physique saying, oh, that's rotten, or that's manly, or, why is your leg so big? Like, do you find that, like, do you ever get negative stuff like that you have to kind of block out, or is it quite positive on your...
I'm actually really lucky. I say this, touch wood. I have had some comments, don't get me wrong, like in prep and stuff, and I'm really lean and things, but in the last year, I've actually not had any sort of horrible... People have probably said things about me and sent my pictures to to their friends or whatever. They might have done that, but no one has DM'd me or been like really negative towards me, which I guess is quite nice. But there are some horrible people out there, but there always will be. And if someone says something to me anyway, I'll just think, well, as long as the people that I know, like the people that I care about, and the people's opinion that I care about, as long as they're happy with how I look and stuff, like I am, I'm happy. But I think doing a category as well that suits your genetics and your physique does make you feel so much happier about yourself. Don't try 100%. Don't be scared. Like, for example, for a guy, if you're listening to this, if your physique will never get to that bodybuilding standard, like James Hollinghead, whatever you call it, I can't remember his second name. Is it Hollingshead or Holling?
Yeah, Hollingshead. Yeah.
Hollings. It's always plural. Hollingshead. If you're never going to get to his size because genetically, like, you're just not gifted, then go for a category that you're gifted in. Like, don't think you have to be like someone else, because I've got so many friends that are figure girls, and I think, God, they're doing, I could have thought, oh my God, they're doing IFBB, whatever, they're trying to get their pro card, and I'm never going to get that. But that's not a healthy way to look at it. I think you need to choose something that you're suited to. And if that means staying in a bikini class all of your life, so what? Who gives a shit? Bikini's still impressive.
100%.
You need to work with your genetics, not against them. And that's what I was doing. I got to that level where I was working against them. And I could have stayed in PCA and done the same category, and I might have done just as well, but I wanted to move to IFBB because I wanted a new challenge.
Yeah, and that's it. You've got to do what makes you happy, and you've got to challenge yourself and step out of that comfort zone as well, right? Because if you got to say, you're talking about having kids in the next couple of years, so say if you have kids and then you decide, right, not competing, I'm done, like that's it, and you've never tried that IFB stage, or you've never said, well, everyone keeps saying I should have done wellness, like, you're gonna have those regrets and look back and be like, why the fuck didn't I just do that, right?
No, exactly. And a huge thing for me, and always has been, is femininity. That's like, femininity for me is so important. Still look feminine on stage, longevity, and I'll always stand by that. But we could get into a conversation about it, but we will swerve that conversation.
And I think like what you're telling me about how Callum, I know how obsessed Callum is with tracking health markers and making sure that you are mentally good with everything. I think this is going to be a really good prep for you. Like, I know when you signed up with Callum, you were probably expecting to compete by now. You've done multiple shows probably, but I think when it comes to 2022 and it's time for you to get on stage, I think everything's going to go very well. And I think you will bring that improved physique, more muscle, similar conditioning, whatever the category calls for, like you'll bring it. I know you'll bring it. And I think it'll be a very healthy position, I think, because just because I know how Callum works and I know how switched on you are, and I know it'll be really interesting to watch, I think.
I know, honestly, I'm really, really, really excited just to experience a different approach to prep and doing a different category and different posing. So I get to learn all these new poses, which is super cool as well. So yeah.
Yeah, that'll be exciting. So Chloe, we'll wrap up there, but if people want to follow you, first of all, they probably want to see these legs that I'm talking about in the pictures or have I scroll through. How do they follow you? What's your Instagram handle? If you got a Facebook business page or YouTube or podcast, like throw out anything you want and let people find you on here then.
So my Instagram is CPT_fitness_. And actually I'm tapping into my YouTube now as well. Obviously lockdown has hit, which is so annoying, but I think I'm under CPT Fitness on YouTube as well. So watch out for lots of videos coming up. And that's, they're the two platforms that you can find me on. I do have a podcast as well, but that's called Limitless.
Awesome. And people can find the link to that probably in your Instagram bio or something, right?
If you go onto my bio, there's a link, and then it takes you to the link tree, and it has all the links of things on there.
Awesome. Awesome, guys. Yeah. And if you are struggling to find Chloe, you can just literally go on people who I follow and type in CPT or Chloe, and you will find her because she's on there. So Chloe, this has been great. I think it's going to be very beneficial, especially to some clients of mine, but also people I know, because we've just finished show season here in Australia for the natural shows and some of the untested shows. The IFBB didn't run, but the IFBB Elite and other organizations did. So like a lot of people are finishing preps, clients are finishing shoots. So I think this is going to be very beneficial moving forward about just embracing that body image, embracing yourself and just going through the whole process of actually knuckling down on our improvement season, I guess. Yeah,
no, exactly. Girls, don't be scared to put body fat on.
That's it. It's needed, right? And it's performance, it's muscle, it's everything else. That's what we're aiming for. And like people just need to watch your stories or your post stories, whichever, for an example of how it's done and how to do it with style. And obviously, once you come out of this mini diet, you'll be going through the exact same thing that people are going through now, and it'd be interesting for them to watch along. I know I'll be watching along, mate. So
I want to document it on YouTube because I feel like it will really help people.
Yeah, that'll be the first thing that I'll go and do after this. Is I'll go follow, subscribe to you on YouTube as well, so that I can keep up to date with all.
There is, when you first start YouTube and you look back and you're like, Chloe, that was edited so bad.
Yeah.
There's a couple of those in there.
But I had to delete a few of mine that were really bad, like old technique videos, and it's like, that's true. That's true.
I'm never going to be a YouTube star. Well, you never know. Anything's possible.
Yeah. Well, if you follow me back on YouTube, you're gonna have to avoid my channel for a while because we're recording a video tomorrow of a leg workout, and we just got a custom built version of the True Squat machine that Callum's been using.
Oh yes, yeah, amazing.
So the boys at Doherty's here have commissioned one made, and it arrived today, and like this tomorrow. And I was like, that's perfect, and we got a videographer in. So don't be too jealous if you see anything. That's my point.
I won't. Don't worry.
I'll probably be using like 5 kilos each side. It's meant to be very humbling though. So awesome, mate. Well, thank you for coming on. Hopefully people will follow you. Hopefully people will subscribe to the YouTube channel and, hit you up if there's anything that kind of they're going through that your story resonated with them. They can hit you up and they can, slide into the DMs and have a bit of a conversation about how you're coping with it and different strategies and that. So guys, I encourage you to go follow Chloe, Instagram, podcast, YouTube, everything. And get on her stuff because she's going to be doing some impressive stuff this year coming up. And then 2022 is going to be a different level. So get on and get following her, guys. Okay, Chloe, I'll let you go on, but have a great day and I'll speak to you soon.
Thank you. Take care. Bye.
Thanks.
Thanks for listening to The O Show with your host, Oren McCory. If you liked this episode, then please subscribe to the podcast wherever you're listening and share this on your social media. We'll see you on the next episode for more no-nonsense advice to help you supercharge your efforts in the gym, in the kitchen, and most importantly, in your head. See you then.